know a lot of people are out there chasing a dream, trying to bring their manifestations to reality. And during the path to that, it gets kind of difficult because you run into obstacles, you run into different problems, you run into self doubt, self limiting beliefs. It's a lot of different things that, put pressure on you, especially if you are somebody who is of color. These things are kind of an energy more than a flaw, if that makes sense. When you're trying to stay course on a certain path, you kind of have to alleviate fear. And I know that this is something that everybody tells you. This is something that you probably tried to implement, but you really don't understand. Fear shows in our body in different ways. I know, at least for me, fear is more than just, me being scared to go somewhere, scared to do something. Fear can disguise itself as, telling yourself that you can't do something or telling yourself that you shouldn't do something. Fear isn't always this very hectic, adrenaline rush type of feeling. Fear really kind of controls your headspace in areas that you don't recognize, like anxiety, insecurities. A lot of these things are stemming from a fear of something. If you have a fear of rejection, what are you afraid of? Are you afraid of, the outcome of the no? Are you afraid of what may influence the no? AKA your insecurities, your self-limiting doubts. The whole situation was kind of, sculpted in fear. And a lot of the times when you approach a situation with fear more than you have confidence, that fear is going to be a dictating quality in your outcome. I've manifested some things into my life that I wasn't necessarily aware of what I was doing at the time. But as I started living life and kept strong in my faith and my ability to execute in my creative endeavors, things started unfolding. Um, and it unfolded all at once. Now, with me looking back in retrospect of the things that have unfolded in my life that I was blessed to receive, I noticed that if I was more direct in my intentions and my manifestations and clear, very precise on what exactly I was trying to achieve, why I was going to achieve it, and then once I had it, what was I going to do with it to, continue the path of alignment. Sometimes, and I know it kind of happened for me for a little bit when I received all the things that I was asking for and I stepped into almost like a second chapter of my life. I'm still in the transition period. I haven't completely cleared out all the baggage and, you know, had spaces, habits. Like it's not completely to the other side, but I see the growth and the alignment to that other side. When, for instance, when I first started doing my photography, I didn't have any clients. I didn't have anything for me to kind of reach out to. So I thought. So all I did was I just went outside every single day and just took pictures around the city. There would be times where I would walk damn near from like Santa Monica, like what, like Century City, if you guys are from LA, all the way down to Hollywood. I'm talking about like 5+ miles. Just me, my shoes, camera, no car, barely any money, just spirit, passion, and hunger. Um, and it wasn't bringing any financial results. I didn't really know how to conduct a business. I'm still learning, doing business is something that it's an ever evolving thing because the culture, the economy, the things that you have to do business all expand. So, if you're somebody who's just now starting something and you haven't started making profit and being able to fund the lifestyle that you want from your art, in the process of you learning how to do the business side behind your art, have patience, and become risky. Be a little bit, be quick to fail. This is something I need to be taking in as well, because when you're just starting out, I noticed in my earlier stages, I was a lot more hesitant to say my worth, say what I wanted to charge, operate different rooms, speak up, network, actually use my voice. Those things were difficult for me to do until I started instilling a sense of self confidence and self worth within myself. And, of course, life is going to sharpen your edges. I have the benefit that I started my creative endeavors very young. So I kind of beat the curve when it comes to bills just a little bit. I was aware of it. I started my business. I started what I actually wanted to fund my lifestyle before I picked up a bill from it, right? So with that, I so when you have something like that, when you have like a bill or something, and it's kind of something that you cherish, something that you want, something that you really don't want to lose, it puts an extra incentive behind your actions and an extra, you know, push. Because I'm a firm believer that God doesn't give you anything that you don't believe you deserve. And God doesn't give you anything that would be easy for you to mishandle and mistreat, or else you wouldn't have got the blessing in the first place. So if you're using your blessings and just the small wins that you acquire from being focused and determined, those little small W's you pick up along the way, use those as fuel and encouragement to push and justify your path. Because if you're taking small W's on the path that you're taking, those W's were for you to acknowledge that you're on the right path. Really try to like understand what I'm saying. If you weren't taking a W in no facet whatsoever, you probably weren't aligned. But even if you aren't 100% aligned in your lifestyle and your goals and everything else around that matter, just being slightly aligned, you'll take slight wins. And when you take those slight wins, your focus should shift to, how did I win? What did that win do? Where did that win come from? And you slowly start to fix that crooked, slanted, kind of lifestyle that you were in. And it starts to kind of fall into place. But that comes down into your focus. When we talk about focus and hard work, people focus and put work into things that are kind of counterintuitive. If you pay attention to your immediate surroundings, and I know not everybody is living somewhere or has um opportunities, connections, just the bright spirit to see what's going on amidst the chaos that happens in a lot of our communities. But if you took a small step back, what worked? What really worked? What worked, and I didn't feel like I was being used, abused. I didn't feel like I was selling my soul in the process. I actually felt like, damn, I did it. Look at the small things. Even if we're talking about going from 50 subscribers to 150 subscribers, you wouldn't have gained those 100 subscribers if you weren't doing something right. If you weren't doing something that you were supposed to do, you would have stayed at 50 subscribers. So it's noticing when God rewards. Like, let's say during the day, you decide that, I'm going to just YOLO it. I'm gonna go here. I'm gonna go get lunch. I'm going to, go vlog it. I'm gonna go take pictures. I'm gonna go do something, right? And while you're there, even though beforehand you were kind of anxious, like, oh, can I afford this? Or, oh, I could probably be doing something more productive, you released that element of fear and went about your day and experienced life. And this has happened to me. Somebody will approach you. You don't have to do no outreach. You didn't have to do anything. Somebody will approach you. Natural conversation starts. Now you have a client. That wouldn't You wouldn't have found that client if you were in the house thinking about how to go get a client, or if you were intentionally, what do I need to do to go get this client? Where is this client at? The clients that are meant for you run into you or encounter you by you living life. And I know that's something that's, you know, not really spoke upon a lot because, of course, when we're talking about scaling businesses and, running ads and different things like that, social media is a very, 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 very powerful tool which could take a business from $1,000 to $1 million. I'm not taking the power away from social media. What I am giving credit to, though, is the power of real life, the power of God. You know, God can show through your social media interactions, and God can show you in real life interactions. You can run into a dream client while you're sitting in the park. You could run into a dream client while you're at the grocery store. But if you're not at a level of consciousness to follow your gut and go where your spirit intuition as God is telling you to do and just see what happens, you'll slow yourself down and make your process harder than what it needs to be. And it's funny because I've been seeing this theme a lot, and it's been really sinking in with me and really bringing a lot of clarity to things. Make this life simple. Do the little things that you know is going to work. You don't have to do like what Steph is Code. If you watch Steph is Code, he said some very, 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 very good game. He was like, just do the little things, those little small steps, those little small W's. Just what do you know you need to do? Posting content, this is simple. Going to do photography, that's fairly simple. Posting, that's simple. Um, Artist, if you're an artist, if you like to draw, that's simple. Record, just do the simple things in your life. Go work out. Make sure that every day, probably go for a walk. You go outside, just get some type of sunlight. You move your body in some facet. Simple. Make sure you clean your desk and your space feels nice for you to, execute and do what you need to do. That's simple. And when you start doing the simple things, the things that's already around you, you start aligning yourself at such a quicker pace because your goals is right here, right? What you're trying to achieve is right here, the lifestyle you want, everything, right? You're right here. You're trying to think about how to do what's up here so you can just scale up instead of doing the small things that was going to lead you to right here. Because if you just tried to figure out how to get up here, you would have got up there and been unaligned because you didn't take the right route to get to right here. The goal is right here, not right here. So I really hope you guys are like catching what I'm saying. It's the small little bitty disciplines, and God rewards those small disciplines. Everything in my life that I've been like, oh wow, this is really dope. It has came from the simplest of actions, the simplest of, encounters. Like speaking of like I'm gonna speak on this like Dr. Dre. Dr. Dre got his Hollywood his star on Hollywood yesterday, right? Battle Cat had posted something. He was there and everything. There's a whole bunch of people, 50 Cent, Eminem, and everything, right? So how I met Battle Cat in specific, right? I had seen a flyer or something like that from this producer, Quest, right? And I remember him giving me tickets to a VIP, media pass to the Juneteenth festival. It was real last minute, and I just asked him a question, can I get some tickets? And he directed me exactly to where I needed to be. And I remembered that, it was the small things. I was like, wow, you didn't really have to do that, but it was off the strength and the heart. I appreciate that. So when I saw that he posted a flyer for this festival or this event that he was having, I just asked him, hey, do you need somebody to cover this event for you? I remember you did that favor for me back then. I'd love to, return that favor in a way. And when I did that, it was like, yeah, man, pull up to this show. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I get there, I, shake hands with them. And without me even having to ask anything, I didn't have to do anything. It was like, oh, let me introduce you to Battle Cat. Right, right there. It didn't take me having to strategize. How do I get to X, Y, and Z to do X, Y, and Z? I was just moving from my heart space and I was living life. I have a passion for photography, but I also have a heart as well. So with both of those implemented, I, you know, just went out there like, hey, do you need help? Do you need anything? I love to help, we good. And it led to me making another connect, a very strong connect. And it just goes down the list of how things kind of align for you when you do the small things from your heart, the small things that matter. You value real life because when everybody turns off these devices that we use to distract ourselves, people have to deal with real life. Once they're done scrolling, once they're done posting, once they're done doing everything, they have to go back to real life. So those interactions that they have, those encounters, that love, those experiences, those just everything that happens in real life, those matter. You can touch mass amount of people through social media, but those one-on-one conversations, those real moments where your spirit is talking directly to another spirit, you don't know what comes from that. You don't know what happens in the cosmos or God heavens and whatever the case may be. You don't know what ancestor just met with another ancestor. You don't know what God met another God. You don't know what happens when two things intertwine, whether that's on a basic conversational level, an intimate level, anything. So when you connect with things around you, make sure it's from a very clear, loving, and as pure of a space as you can be, and things just happen. We really talk about hard work. Hard work shows in not the way that everybody likes to say it. It's yes, the way I'm gonna say this, yes. If you're working 12, 16-hour days, 8-hour days, 4-hour days, yes, you are working hard. I will give you that. Because you are doing something that you really don't want to fucking do and you're forcing yourself to do it. That is hard work. That is hard labor. But hard work spiritually, when you do that hard work spiritually, when you tap in, what am I here to do? What do I want to do? What is me? Do that real grind, that real digging, and then let your work ethic and your grind represent that dig. That takes a different type of willpower. That takes a different, it almost takes like a level of like insanity because in a society where that type of individual is not bred, because these type of qualities are bred, these type of qualities are taught, and in society and households where the independent thinker, the self-aware, the emotionally intelligent, the accurate, the precise, the visionary, the wise masculine man is not pushed, we have a lot of weak men hiding behind traumatic work ethics. If you're working hard at some shit that you don't want, let that sink in. If you're working hard at some shit that you really don't want, there's some trauma somewhere in there. Now, I'm not telling you how to deal with your trauma and heal your trauma, because you doing whatever you do may heal the trauma. But I'm putting you in perspective a little bit. When you do something that your spirit's telling you no, and you're actively pushing yourself to work harder at the thing your spirit is telling you to know, you're going to get to a box and it's going to drain you. It's going to lead to a lot of mental health issues. I'm pretty sure I spoke about this in one of my other videos. There's a lot of celebrities who are celebrities, millionaires. They don't even have to have the fame. They have everything they want, but they're sad as hell because they don't really have what they want. They worked hard at the wrong thing. If you are like me, and I have to be cautious of this too, if you are the type of person who values love, who values connection, who values authenticity, you need to be actively working on the small things in your life to build loving, authentic, graceful connections. Don't be one of the persons, and I'm very guilty of this, where I'll hyper focus on my goals and then be like, okay, I want both of these, so but I'm just gonna focus on this and neglect this, then I'll double back to that. It usually doesn't help. It slows you down. Whatever you actually want, you need to actually be doing it. I remember I wrote down in my journal, um, I say like a month or two ago, right? Probably like a month. I was slowing down in my creative endeavors and I wasn't really, I was kind of falling into like a slouch almost. And I wrote this quote down because I just heard it in my head, right? I was like, nobody in this world got paid to do what they love by not doing what they love. It's impossible. There's no way you are ever going to be in a position to where you can fund what you want out of life from doing what you want if you never start doing what you want. At some point, you have to start doing what you want if you want what you want to fund what you want. Like, is you can't be the type of person where you're like, oh, I really want um to get more clients. I really want to scale this business. I really want to do music. I really want to do art. I really want to do poetry. And you never do it. At what point did you think that your reality was going to shift in the favor of what you want if in your day-to-day interactions, your day-to-day schedule, your day-to-day routine is doing the exact opposite? A lot of us unalign ourselves. And it's kind of messed up because it ties back to what I said before when I talked about breeding. Um, if you aren't equipped with certain headspaces and certain perspectives early, you unalign yourself early. So then I see, because I'm young and I'm so blessed from my family and the wisdom and just my surroundings that have gave me the insight that I have. But a lot of people have gotten deeper in life, and that whole time they were unaligning themselves. Now they're at a position where they know they're unaligned, but now they have to unwork all that unalignment. That type of scenario makes people feel like they're stuck from what I've seen, where you have, let's say you have a family now. You have certain responsibilities, you have certain obligations that you like, yo, I gotta hit this. But you don't want to do it anymore. But you have to do what you have to do to meet everything that make everything else around you, work. If you're somebody who's in that predicament where you somewhat feel stuck, make conscious effort to just do something you love every day. And I don't mean you have to be zoned out 4 hours, just straight entrepreneur, hard drive. Bro, you could be at work If you want to make content, take your phone out and make content at work. Make it, figure out how. Figure out, can I make content on the way to work in the car? Can I make it while I'm brushing my teeth? Some like some people, somebody could just set up the tripod while they're brushing their teeth. Make a whole series where they just talk about shit that they've learned the previous day while brushing their teeth in the morning. Just get it done. Something. If you want to take pictures, if you want to be a photographer, take that mother everywhere you go, everywhere. I don't care if you are working, if you are doing something, bro. You have a camera on your phone. You have a you can get a small camera. Just snap along. Just snap as you go along. And over time, if you keep putting that out into the world, if you keep introducing yourself to new people and new opportunities as what you want, that reality will start to shift. I promise you. It is very, it's people need to make this manifesting thing simple because it really is. You never know why God is going to give you why he promised you what he promised you. You just know he promised you something. He doesn't tell you why he promised it to you. So if you want to make videos, they don't need to be perfect at all. Just keep posting videos, keep making videos, keep making videos, keep making videos. And if they get better over time, they get better. They don't, they don't. They should. But if they don't, they don't. And you there, bro, there's people. I remember this thing. It was this old guy who was a fisher who was posting, YouTube videos of him just catching fishes, by himself in the middle of the lake for like, I think he said like 7 to 10 years, right? Was stuck at like 100, like probably like 1,000 subscribers or something like that. He had no idea that 10 years later, TikTok was going to come out. Somebody made a post about his YouTube video on TikTok 10 years later. Now he just has millions of people flooding that YouTube channel 10 years later, which means he has 10 years of content. If you guys are even a little bit into content creation, if you're posting every day, every week for 10 years, you have a stack of real estate. Content is like real estate. All of that traction, he just got paid for. None of that work went unrecognized. I'm pretty sure if you go to his YouTube channel right now, he's somewhere in the millions. Let that sink in. None of the work that he did was for nothing. He got paid, unless it got flagged, for every single video that flopped. So if that doesn't give you enough courage or enough perspective to just keep doing the small things, meet God halfway, and then let God unfold it for you, because it's not all on you. You're co creating. Let that be the message of all of this. Co create. Don't just create, because it's going to get very hard because you don't know what you're creating and why you're creating it. Co create. Meet God halfway. I'm going to do the small things that I know I need to do. And you're going to show me my next step. And then when my next step gets shown, I'll do that. Just keep doing the steps. Yeah. I love y'all. Y'all have a good rest of y'all day. Peace. That was awkward, but it's okay.